And welcome to Down the Alley. This is PMAC. And it looks like I've had no one join me tonight. Ted is he's been on the IR all week. Katie currently dealing with gear for Team 36. And JP, I don't know. I think he's taking pictures. He's in and out. He's in and out. He's you never know when he's going to be in. Um, and when he's out, he's out. However, joining us now to help me get through this episode because I had people just bailing on me. I had my teammates bailing on me. Jay Goltz 84 at Gmail. Yeah, the DTA Nation knows him, knows this guy well. I'm not sure why 84. I know he's a fan of 84, the OG 84, the only real 84. I don't think he ever wore 84 on the field. I could be wrong. He might correct me. He can run a mile in 10 minutes. Jeremy Goltz, welcome to Down the Alley.
I missed a little bit of that introduction as I was getting in here, but I heard the
That was on purpose. That was on purpose.
The 84 reference. I heard that. Yes, the real 84. As you all know, Randy Moss, or you should know. If you don't, we got problems. The greatest receiver of all time. And yes, I wore 84 in high school football.
Okay.
I even got a pair of custom cleats that said "the real 84" on them, spelt DAREAL, like "the real 84," and it was just FO for a little corny, but yeah, that was that. What else did you say? Yeah, mile in 10 minutes. I think I can run a single mile faster than that.
Where's your mile time at right now?
My mile time, I haven't tried to run a single mile as fast as I can, as I'm training for a marathon.
What would you set the over under at right now?
I could run it in a single mile. I would bet money. If I'm betting on myself, I could do it in under 7, a single mile.
Really?
Yeah, I could do a single mile
under 7 minutes.
Yeah, I just ran 5 miles on Wednesday, and the 4th mile I ran at an 8-minute pace. So
you think you could gut out 1 and 7? Interesting.
I think I could gut out a 7-minute mile.
Very interesting.
I'd be dogging it at the end, like for sure. I'd be breathing real heavy.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay. Welcome back to Down the Alley. You were one of I don't know what episode you were on, but you were an early interviewee. So a lot's happened. Tonight's not all about you, but looking forward to, checking in, seeing, what you're up to this off season. One thing quick, Old Southern Barbecue, obviously the sponsor of Down the Alley this season. Thanks for coming out. They sold out of their Thanksgiving turkeys. And they got another deal coming up for Christmas. I think they got hams, maybe some turkey, all the good stuff. Groot, if you can hear Groot in the background, he's excited for it. He's fired up for some smoked turkey this Christmas. Also, funny story, my brother-in-law cabinet maker, not a big deal. He built my cabinets by hand. When he was over for Thanksgiving, he was asking me about, you're on a podcast. I saw your stuff, Old Southern Barbecue. And I'm like, yeah, it's like in your backyard in Shakopee. He's like, no way. So he went out, he checked out Old Southern Barbecue, and he gave me the review back, and he said, I will be back. I will be back. That would, quote unquote, I will be back. So Old Southern Barbecue, you guys are doing a good job. And, some family members are enjoying the barbecue. Have you been over there yet?
I have not been to Old Southern Barbecue yet, so
tell the fans while I get Groot out of my hair here, so we can actually record in peace. What have you been up to? Kind of like this fall off season. How's football? What are you kind of doing?
Yeah, so I mean, I teach high school biology in LeSueur. And I coach middle school football there. Season wrapped up. I think we went roughly about 500. I don't keep track of the record there. But off season right now for Blake, we're doing. I think it just ended. It just wrapped up. We have Gabe Moon. He's a guy. He moved out here from out east. Where he went to. I'm gonna butcher it. Is either I think is it Hartford is the D3 school? Hartford.
I believe that is a D3
I,
school.
I believe that's where he went. I can't like there's so many like Haverford, Hartford. I can't remember. But he went out there, Gabe Moon, and he's running our off-season stuff that just ended right now where we were just running some training at First Athlete with the kids at Blake, keeping their sticks warm. Big thing, like a cultural aspect that we're doing is Coach Evan Hylock. He has all the seniors right now reading the book Boys in a Boat. And so us coaches are also reading that. And yeah, so we're gonna carry that into the off season, kind of look at the readings from that book. Um, and see how that can apply to our team and apply that to the season and whatnot. So yeah.
Love it. Love it. How how did you talk about the fall ball for Wheat Kings right now? I know you're
I
a part
haven't
of
talked
that.
about that. But yeah, so I'm just refing that right now. Currently on IR. Um I don't care to disclose information on here. I don't need a pity party. So I'm on the IR and so I'm refing. And oddly enough, I found out I'm also the best ref in Minnesota. So at least as far as box goes. Um,
So you always stir the pot in every
stir the
every
pot.
community you get end up
Yeah.
accidentally ended up in the refing community. So
Um,
are you starting a war with all refs? You're gonna
I'm
try to
not actually starting a war.
climb in the rankings?
I just called John Day. He's I don't know what position he is in UMLOA, but he's one of the top ones. His name's all over the website for there. I also just reached out to Ripley. So I'm actually trying to get back into refing. I'm having fun with it right now in that the King of the Hill League that Nick Midbow puts on. Um, so yeah, that fall ball stuff is going good, refing there. And yeah, I'm excited to get back into the refing side of things. Obviously, I can't do that during the high school season, but yeah, looking forward to get into it in the youth for the summer. But yeah.
All right, without further ado, I'm sick of hearing Gold speak. I'd like to welcome the BSM Red Knights homecoming king, uh, lacrosse superstar. I'm not even gonna say it because I jinxed it last year, so I'm not gonna even pump your tires anymore. I'm gonna leave it at
Ooh.
homecoming king. I see on the Instagram here, Gus Bell.
Hey, how's it going? I didn't even know Goltz was gonna be here. This is a surprise.
Yeah,
Yeah, a little bit of a short notice, but I was able to hop on today and definitely excited to be doing this here with you, Gus. So yeah.
yeah, there was some healthy scratches, maybe some people on the IR. I don't know all my, where my teammates here are. I had to go to the depths of the earth to find a fill in from I not even the AHL. I had to go down to the ECHL here and get a guy. Yeah, I know it's ugly in gold. So I'm sorry he's here with us, but we'll get to your guys' connection because I know you're doing some stuff with him this off season, but we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. That'll be a good topic, maybe for you two to connect on. But yeah, what overall, how's school going? How's the fall? How's being a senior? How are things?
I mean, it's pretty easy, I think. Senior year might be my easiest year yet. We don't really do much in class, so it's nothing to complain about. And then I'm playing lacrosse all the time too, so I can't complain.
So do I need to just send that? I clip that, take Benilde, all the academia of Benilde on that, or what? You can't be senior sliding in November, and
We're
it's
not sliding at all. It's just it's not the most difficult.
all right, all right, all right. We're already stirring the pot on private school education senior year. I didn't even have to start it. This is all you from the source. No, that's cool. That's cool. Were you homecoming king this year? Was that this fall? How do you get? How many votes did you have to buy for that?
I don't even know how I got it, to be honest. I don't even know. That was this fall, yeah.
That was this fall. Was it a good
Yeah.
dance? Good turnout? What was for dinner?
We went to the Edina Country Club actually and had dinner there. And then we went to the dance. It was fine.
Gold. I saw you chiming in. What do you have for the kid?
Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, I'm not surprised that you got homecoming king. I'm surprised that this is the first I'm hearing about this. Like,
Really?
yeah, this is the first I've heard about it. I think that's something you probably should let the team know. But yeah, so I mean, congrats on that. But
Maybe if you followed Benilde on Instagram or something, you would have seen it. But
yeah, maybe.
It honestly, like, I just Googled like Gus Bell and it was like the first thing that came up. So it was it didn't really take too much research.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Not doing my research on Gus.
No, cool. So for people who don't know, Gus Bell, midi out of Benilde St. Margaret's, going into his senior year, committed to Army. We'll get into kind of your high school career, but would love to kind of just talk about you. How did you get started in the game? How did that start for you?
I mean, I have an older brother and he just played, so I kind of just followed along in his footsteps. So whatever he was doing, I was doing. So he picked up lacrosse, so I just had to do the same.
How about other sports? Were you a hockey guy too?
Yeah, I was hockey, a little bit of football, some baseball, but that ended quickly. And then stopped playing hockey, switched to basketball, and now we're just only at lacrosse.
Did I make this up in my head? Are you a hockey family? Do you come from a hockey family?
Yeah, yeah. Big hockey family.
Do you want to expand on that at all?
Uh, uh, my dad works for the Maple Leafs, played at the U, coached at the U. I mean, that's basically it.
No, that's cool. No, that's cool. Um, how old were you when you started playing?
I want to say like first grade, maybe. So like 6, 7, maybe. And then just stick with it.
And yeah, what did you're from Edina, correct?
Yeah.
So what was your time like, growing up, going through the Edina program, youth, all that good stuff?
Yeah. I played through the Edina Youth till like freshman year. Played a little team in Minnesota when I was young, and then stopped playing club, and then only played association. Then, like going into freshman year, I started playing club again for True, and then started going through that recruiting process and everything.
Yeah, right on. How did you start, grew up in Edina? What was the transition to Benilde like, and
I'm,
what kind of drove that?
I mean, for me, the classes and like everything is so much like smaller, and I thought it was a better fit for me. And then the like transition, I guess, sports wise was like pretty easy. They had summer and fall practices, so I just showed up and the boys like welcomed me in, so it was nice.
Love to hear that. Love to hear that. Good group of guys over there.
Oh, probably the best in the state, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so was your freshman year 2020? Am I doing the math correct on that?
2021.
2021 was your freshman year. Okay, so you weren't
Yeah.
really affected. So yeah, going into 2021, were you kind of dominating right away as a freshman? Were you, just starting on JV? What was kind of your transition from youth to high school, having that gap year of COVID? having a lot of negative factors, you could say going against you, kind of in that realm of things.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was dominating right away by any means, but I was on varsity. I was getting pretty good minutes, had points every couple games, stuff like that. And then I think I just kept going up.
At what point do you think you made like maybe the transition from maybe not dominating to, being one of the, main contributors? What kind of year did that happen for you?
I'd say my sophomore year. I mean, I was my freshman year. I was behind like Patty Burns, Matt Dowden, Jackson Lyshow. It's tough to crack the big boy spots when they're on the roster. But
Yeah, you guys always have dudes, right? So being a younger guy, even being on the team, right? That's huge. That's sweet. Um, so what kind of, did you have to, how did you develop, and maybe what was, as a younger player on a roster, full of dudes, what kind of role did you have to kind of carve out for yourself?
I mean, I was like second line midi, so I just go out there with my two boys, Johnny Schiefert, Sam Decker, and then we try and score and play good defense, and then that's basically it. And we just had to do our role, I guess.
Right on, right on. What type of, how do I ask this? Like, Benilde, right? One of the better teams in the state. You're carving out a role for yourself, playing in big games. What was, what did the older players do to help you kind of shine in the big moments, shine in the big games, not be too nervous, and excel. Maybe it's a culture thing, maybe it's the players doing something, I don't know, can you expand on that?
I mean, for like when I was a freshman, I was like looking at the older guys. They just seemed like it was like normal to them being in like big games and big moments like that. So for me, just seeing them be acting like it's normal, I just did the same. I felt like it was normal, and I feel like I've been able to feel that way ever since.
Right on, right on. um what what are some, like, looking back on the last couple few seasons here, um what are the biggest games that come to mind? Obviously, the state championship games, and going to the state tournaments and things, but yeah, what are some of the biggest games, maybe biggest rivalries that you guys have over at Benilde?
I mean, obviously, we have to say Prior Lake. I mean, one of my favorite games is our OT win against them in 2022. That was really special. And then last year when we lost them, that also sticks out like a sore thumb to me. Think about it a lot. And then I'd say also Chanhassen. We also have a pretty good rivalry with. My freshman year we lost to them in OT, I think too. And I feel like whenever we play against them, we try and bring our best game to them every time.
Last year, did you play them? And well, they're in your conference, right?
Yeah,
Chanhassen is.
yeah. So we just play them every year.
Are you guys, is it kind of you and Chan duking it out for the conference every year?
Yeah, I'd say whoever like beats each other is just the winner of the conference, basically.
What's that game like for you guys? Who's kind of coming out on top, the last couple of years, against them?
I mean, 2023 we won. 2022 we won again, and then 2021 my freshman year we lost them in OT. But I'd say it's pretty good rivalry, and we always have fun when we play against them.
Who's the hardest matchup that you've had, like player wise?
I'd probably that's a tough one. I'd probably have to go back also to my freshman year again. I mean, Mason Wortelman, he plays at Notre Dame right now, so he's always a tough matchup. And then Kyle Stevens, he's always super aggressive whenever he plays against you. So you know you got to bring your A game. And Jack Bourget, Will Connor, they also try and be a little gritty towards you, but those are probably my main guys, I'd say.
Goltz, what do you got for him here? Before we kind of dive into a few other topics.
Well, I was just like thinking, so like to be honest, I mean this in no disrespect, Gus, but like before I went and watched the Benilde game last year, regular season, Benilde versus Prior Lake. I went and watched that game, and that was the first that I had like ever where Gus Bell came across. And that was when they were talking about like Brant the whole time, was just like how good he is. And then all of a sudden I'm like, yo, who's this lefty over here that's just plugging them away? And like find out like that's Gus Bell. Um, just like, and then like, so seeing you're a junior, you're dominating. I'm like, why is this kid not being talked about? And then like as the season went on, sure enough, like I think you really started to like develop a big name for yourself. But then like thinking back to your freshman year, you said you started playing varsity. Like how was that like transition into varsity? I'm trying to like think how I word this question is like was there like a breaking point? Like did you come in as a freshman kind of like thinking, yeah, I'm definitely like at this level and I can play with these guys? Or was there a point where you thought that, dude, what are they doing putting me on second line as a freshman? Like that's a lot of weight on my shoulders. And then like was there a point where you were like maybe like 3 games in or something and it was like, okay, now I got this. Like how was that?
I mean, for me, I think my mentality, I'm like, I should be on varsity every time, every year, and getting big minutes. Like when I came into Benilde, I thought I was gonna start. Thought I was gonna be the star player my freshman year. Obviously, that wasn't the case, but I feel like I just belong at those higher levels. So for me, making those transitions and even playing like second line my freshman year, it didn't. There was like no weight on my shoulders at all. I felt like I belong and I'm always supposed to be there.
Right on, right on. Um,
How do you
yeah,
get that confidence? Like, do you put in like because not everyone has that type of confidence, right? Like it's I wouldn't even call it like a cocky thing. Like that's a confidence thing. Like, how do you develop that? Like, are you putting work in outside of the normal practice? Are you doing weight room? Are you like where like how or is it just like, yo, like I'm gonna come out here and I'm gonna beat you up? Like where does that kind of come from?
I mean, since I was like young, I've just always been like playing like every day, just against the wall or shooting all the time. So I feel like just gaining confidence in myself would be like the main thing, which is just showing up every day and doing the work that helps me grow the confidence. But I also think it's just always there and I don't need to like think about it.
Did you play up like because having an older brother, were you always just around older players or not really?
I mean, my like eighth grade year, I started playing with like the varsity team or like during their winter practices. So that's when my brother was a senior. So I guess I'd play against him and like his teammates, and that was when I like first started playing against guys older than me. We like played in winter league and against other teams and stuff. So that'd be like the only time I'm playing against kids older than me from the start.
Um, I want to jump into, coming, kind of this time of year, kind of when we were scheduling, the interviews, with players, um, was signing day. You came out, signed with Army. I think there's been a couple guys the last couple years, out of Benilde going to Army, but not. I wouldn't call it maybe quote unquote the most popular place to go out of Minnesota for various reasons. Being at a high level, being a military school. Um, is that a place that you've always wanted to go? Did you wanted to go military school? Was that a goal, or kind of through the process? Did it kind of end up being something you got interested in and wanted to pursue?
For me, it was like I thought it was like army or bust. Like that's the only way I want. That's the only place I like wanted to go. So I just like put all my eggs in the basket and try to like get my way to go there, and then it eventually worked out. So that's like it was a big accomplishment for me.
I want to definitely talk about what it takes to go to a school like that. But first I want to know like why Army? Like is it part of your family? Is it again, is that just you want to go military? You know, what kind of what's behind that?
I want to serve my country, so that's a big part of it. And my dad, he was recruited to Army for hockey, and he didn't go. And he was like, God, I wish I should have gone. I wish I should have went there. So it's been in my mind like, oh, this is a great school to go to. So it was like one of my main things, like doing something for my country and also doing something that I think is really hard. And I really like the like discipline aspect about the school, like being scheduled every hour of every day that you have. I think that's really like I really like that.
Have you talked to some of your former teammates from Benilde that are there right now?
Jack Wrigley, I guess when I went there, I talked to him a little bit, but he like went to I think one of the prep schools out on the East Coast when he was younger, so I didn't really get to talk to him much, but he went to Benilde, so we have a mini connection there.
Right on. You know, to go to, a school like that, to play lacrosse, sure, you got to be a stud on the field, but what's the process to, get into the school and what else does it take, kind of outside of the lines, if you will, on top of being a great lacrosse player and wanting to pursue an opportunity like that?
Yeah, I mean, like application wise, we have to go through like a physical fitness test and like run the mile, do push ups, sit ups, pull ups, all that. And then we have to write a ton of essays for the school, go to the doctor, see if we are like eligible for going to the military. And then we also recently I had my like congressional interviews. So I get interviewed by like the senators, like people, I guess, to see if I can get a nomination. And then I have another one of those next week. So I'm gonna get that for like my congresswoman, and interviewed by her people. So that's like application wise, that's like a big thing. It takes a long time.
What's like the hardest question they've asked you in that? Like did they like drill you with something where you're like, whoa, like was not expecting that question?
I didn't get grilled as much, but I know two other kids that are also applying to Army. They some of the questions they got were like, what would you do if you were deployed in Iraq and your captain was like, shoot these protesters because I don't like them. And they told me that I was like, no way. And it was very surprising. I didn't get any of those though.
Yeah, that's good. You
What's more nerve wracking, playing in like a high caliber lacrosse game? Like I'm thinking, like you've been to the state championship. What's more nerve wracking, state championship or like interview with congressmen?
I definitely say the interviews because I put in so much practice with lacrosse. I feel like it's like second nature, but the interviews I get really nervous for. So that's like the most like difficult thing I'd say.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Interviews stink. I freeze on them still to this day. So yeah, I don't know.
I've practiced randomly at the Army. We had like a pregame practice like on a road trip somewhere at Army. So that's really my only extent of the Army campus. What was your favorite part of, their campus? Their field was their stadium was pretty sick.
Yeah, I mean the field's crazy, and then like the main like part of the school is like it's like all solid brick, and there's like fresh cut, clean grass right in front of the school, like that no one can walk on except for like marching day or something like that. And then inside, like the lunchroom or the dining hall is like really nice, and like everything is just like supreme, kept in supreme care. So it's like pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I can't wait. I hope hopefully we can interview you again or talk to you after your freshman year because I've heard some hilarious things kind of that go on your freshman year. So, but not from an Army guy. I've heard things from other kind of military academies. So, we'll have to get a follow up on your freshman year. Goltz, did you have something?
I'm kind of interested. So this grass that you can't walk on. Have you heard any stories about anyone walking on this grass when they're not supposed to? And like what happens if you walk on that grass, if you have anything on that?
I haven't heard any stories, but they like walk on it during like when you get initiated into the school. So I don't think it's that big a deal if you take a step on it, but I haven't heard anything like that.
I mean, I'd hate to keep talking about myself, but like I don't know if you've ever been to Notre Dame's campus. Have you?
No.
And so like Notre Dame, like I don't know, there was a lacrosse tournament there, and they let us practice on their football practice fields, but one of them is grass, and it's like their original grass practice football field. And in order to, there was like bathrooms on the other side of it, and in order to get to the bathrooms, you either had to walk like a mile around the practice facility to get to the bathrooms, or just cut across the grass field. And so like logically in my head, I cut across the grass field, and like that's a no-go apparently at Notre Dame. And this roided out football strength coach just comes like chasing down like freaking like, so I was just interested to see. So yeah, maybe that interview after your freshman year, find out if anyone steps on the grass when they're not supposed to. Would love to hear a story like that.
Maybe you should do that. Test it.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Hey, I know
Be a little
Gus.
dangerous.
And then step on the grass.
So I know this offseason you've been playing with the Wheat Kings. I've heard that you had to sneak your way on to this team via kind of around your dad. Maybe I don't know if your dad maybe had some question marks about this team, as any father should. What was maybe the process of you getting on this goon squad that is called the Minneapolis Wheat Kings?
I mean, Midbo, like he DM'd me and I didn't even know what it was. And he's like, "You want to play box?" I was like, "Sure." And then I'm not even 18, so I can't really play unless I get like a waiver signed or something. So I'm like, I just asked my dad if I can play box, and he's like, "Who's gonna be playing?" I'm like, "I don't know." And then he's like, "You have to sign this waiver if you're under 18." I'm like, "Yep." And I was just tell him to sign it, and I show up to practice, and these guys got beards. I mean, I see Goltz out here. He's like 6'5", 320 or something. Just like wondering what I got myself into. And it was just it was pretty crazy.
Now to clarify for the fans, is that a healthy 320 or an unhealthy 320?
I mean, if you follow Goltz on Instagram, you can see him running 10 miles every day. So I'm just saying it's probably pretty healthy.
Goltz, are you a quiet 250 like I say about you right now?
Dude,
are you
I
under?
did okay, so I did weigh myself for the first time in a month actually this morning. 249. 249.
So you are a
yeah,
quiet 250.
Quiet 250.
You're a quiet 250,
back
dude.
to quiet 250.
You're quiet 250.
Closer to 200 than I am to 300.
Not a big deal.
We're doing fine.
What's been, kind of your experience with Wheat Kings playing box lacrosse for the first time? How do you anticipate, playing box lacrosse? How do you anticipate, some of that development translating, going back on the field, for your senior year?
I mean, it was like really different when I first started playing. It was like, don't go across the midline, and I was like, why not? And then I'm like, all right, but they tell me only stand my left hand, so I'm like, all right, sweet, I can just play my strong side the whole time. So I'm just trying to score goals, and sometimes just get laid out in the middle of the field. You just got to pick yourself back up, and the boys are like tossing like 90-mile-per-hour passes at you, so you just got to snag the ball somehow. And I think like developing for field, my hands and like BTB stuff that I've been like throwing in during box, I feel like that's really coming together and making myself better in field as well.
Hey,
Maybe it's
hold on,
just
hold
a,
on,
go
hold on. I'm
ahead.
gonna
Go
pause
ahead.
here. Speaking of the BTBs, what was that? Was that on Lacrosse like network or something, Gus? Where you swam through like three kids, the whole defense, and then you whip the nasty BTB assist.
I don't think that was on Lacrosse Network,
What
unless I didn't see it.
I don't
It
know.
was
It was
it was like a REIT league or something.
yeah. Oh yeah, the Arete or like yeah. So if you haven't seen that video, try to go find it. Maybe I'll try to find it and post it, and then get the whole world to watch it again.
I don't know. I don't know if your signature move is the jump shot or if that's just against Prior Lake. Is that a shot that you're doing in box? Is that not really applicable? Is that your signature shot, or is that just what you do when you're playing Prior Lake?
I mean, I've done it like once in box and it worked out. Brady Grandstaff, he like tossed a BTB pass to me and I catch it jumper, but that's probably the only time I've done it in box. And then I say I usually only keep the jumpers for Prior Lake because bigger games you gotta save the jumpers for them to show up.
No, that's fair. That's yeah, totally fair. Um Goltz, what do you got for this kid?
It's kind of like ties into my like first initial question about you being a freshman at Benilde. So you like you kind of I think we spoke about this a little bit at one of the Wheat Kings practices. Didn't really get like a like super like clear answer, but I always felt like that same energy that you said you had as a freshman, like you always felt like you belonged and that you should be playing at this high level and there was never any weight on your shoulders. As far as me like watching you play at the Wheat Kings, you can kind of see that same mentality. Did you have that same mentality, or like when you walked into the locker room, like you said, you're walking into a locker room full of I mean, you got I'm not even I mean, I'm 28 and I'm like in the middle of the pack in terms of age on the Wheat Kings. Like we got some like 34-year-olds. We got dads that have like two kids in that locker room. So like was that how did that like kind of like relate to your freshman year at Benil?
I mean, for that, I was like, obviously, I think I was a little nervous at the start of both, but my first game for Wheat Kings, I had like 4 goals, so I guess I just needed to get starting in a game, and then I'd feel more comfortable. So I guess I really for Wheat Kings because so many people like you don't. I don't even think I like. I'm the only one that like can't grow facial hair on the team, and then I just need to get on the field and then show them. So I guess that's the biggest part, just getting out there and showing them what I can do.
Right on. Yeah. And I mean also too, I mean, it was very quick into the season that like you brought some electricity. Like what's like explain to the fans. I feel like I've seen it. I kind of like know your mentality, but explain to the fans like what's going through your head once you there was clearly a point in the season where you got like that confidence. You were always a good player, but there was clearly like week 2 or like week 3 where it was like you were setting the tone at the beginning of the game in the huddles. You're being the loudest on the bench. What's going through your head like for that mentality to come out?
I mean, my second game, think I had like 6 goals. So just like I think once I get like going, then the energy starts rolling and I can keep it rolling. So after that game, I'd say I was comfortable with all the guys. I knew like a couple names, so I felt comfortable talking to people, and then I can really show my personality and like confidence, I guess.
Right on. Big quote from you as well that you love to say. You know which one I'm gonna say?
I think so.
The taken souls.
Yeah.
Can elaborate on that.
Uh, so if anyone knows Brian Dawkins, you guys know heard of Brian Dawkins?
Yes, yes, of course.
So so I guess I saw something on Instagram and he's like screaming out, running out the tunnel. He's like, "You're gonna feel it today. You're gonna feel it today." I'm taking his soul and stuff like that. So it kind of resonated with me. I'm like, I'm gonna take these guys' souls when I go out and playing them. So I think B Doc, he just really resonated with me, and I use this quote a lot of the time now.
Right on. Yeah. Brian Dawkins, hard hitter, definitely took some souls in his day.
I'm also told you're a really nice opponent to play against. Do you follow Andrew Luck? Like, do you know that he used to do that? Is that something that you kind of embraced off of him?
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm nice. I just like don't talk to people, or someone like hit me with a cheap shot or hit me after the play. I just start laughing at them because like,
I
why
was
are you
told that
doing
you
that?
compliment your opponents. That's what I was told.
I don't know about complimenting my opponents. Maybe like my friends on the other team, I'm like, hey, good shot, but I don't think I compliment anyone really.
Okay. Yeah. Shout out the source on that one. You know who you are. He's denying it. He's denying it.
We're not gonna name drop or
No. I don't name my sources. Otherwise, I'll
all right.
lose trust. I need my sources. I need my sources
Okay.
to publish to keep this thing moving. If I give away my sources, this thing will crash and burn. Um, Goals. Do you have anything else, or should we move on here?
Well, I've been told if we're still talking about the Wheat Kings here, also from a source. I was told to ask Gus.
Wait, Goltz, are you your own source on this question?
I could be. Not going to out myself. That would be self-incriminating. Um, so you have to, and like, yeah, completely like your own answers. Don't feel pressured because I'm here. Who are your favorite? Let's go top 3 Wheat Kings players. Your favorite.
Top three. All right. Ooh. So any order? Are we am I giving
Yeah,
like one, two, three?
and if it's not me, have you seen my hit?
I have seen your hit. If you haven't, check it out.
But yeah, I don't think any particular order matters.
All right, so I'm gonna have to throw Connor Hooley in there, one of the younger guys that I got along with while playing. So then I'd maybe have to throw Jeremy Goltz in there. Definitely, he keeps me rolling whenever I need it. And then I'd probably say Midbow because he's always trying to teach me and help me learn through the game because it's new to me.
Yeah. Well, I do appreciate the shout out. I know Midbow is definitely gonna appreciate the shout out. I do like the Hooley reference. Because Hooley is a dog and you're a dog too. And that made me think of like we had is probably you, Brady, Hooley. Like those were our 3 young guys, and you got Hudson as well. And like if you think back to the season, the Wheat King season, anyone that watched it, anyone that ever came out to a game, if you didn't come out and watch, because like those guys that I just named off, complete dogs. And it's very easy to look at, I mean, like you, Gus, Grant Staff, Hooley, Hudson, very easy to look at them and be like, yeah, they put the ball in the back of the net. But also watching you guys play on the defensive side of things too is like I've never seen so many people land so many wrap checks in my life. Like I've thrown a lot of wrap checks in my life, and more often than not, I'm dropping my own stick, getting a penalty, and I've never seen so much hustle in the ride and getting the ball on the ground and like getting that ball back. And I think like on the Wheat Kings, I know that all of us like on the team were probably very appreciative of that because it was always a bunch of like older guys. And as you get older, tendency, the ability to ride and want to ride kind of dies. And yeah, watching that like out of you young guys this year was pretty awesome. So yeah, Hooley, dog.
He's a dog.
All right, moving on here from the Wheat King stuff, going into your senior year here. Actually, I have one question. I have one question before we talk about your senior year. Over at Benilde, this is not breaking news. You guys had a coaching change between your sophomore and junior year. You know, again, obvious, you had some kind of turnover, some, assistants, being kind of promoted. This is going on at Prior Lake right now. Was there any major changes? Like, I know probably culturally and systematically, probably things, stayed mostly the same, but when a new coach takes over, maybe there's some tweaks. From your sophomore to junior year, anything noticeable kind of change, or any, kind of tweaks, within the program that, kind of want to speak on that, kind of going into year 2 of the staff, your senior year that, they're trying to build upon?
I mean, I wouldn't say any major tweaks. Probably the biggest thing is probably Joe Bear. He brings a lot of electricity to practice and all those things. And our coaches really like their drip, I'd say, if anyone's familiar with that term,
I am
their style.
starting to learn the drip. I've had some DMs with some of your coaches. I learned that my shoe game is very weak. Is the shoe game strong? Is that kind of what you're referring to, or is there some other drip going on the staff?
I'd say shoe game. I'd probably hand it to Coach G mostly because shoe game's probably his biggest game. But Joe Bear and G, they really like to keep their style going. I know Joe Bear in the summer he's strictly all black, and then G likes to throw in some fits that really are appealing to the eye.
Does that kind of does the coaches drip, has that dripped onto the players? How's the players drip?
I mean, my teammates used to say I'm like the dustiest, like I had the worst drip ever, and now I feel like I'm working on it, and I look a little better. And I think our coaches are drippy, then it brings a little more swagger to the team. We look good, we feel good, we play good. You know what I mean?
So, kind of dusting off some of your old, wannabe drip. What's kind of coming in, senior year? Is there going to be some new cleats? Is there going to be is there new gloves? Like what what is it? Is it a pregame uni? What are we kind of thinking about, dripping into, the senior year here?
I mean, the start of it was probably my cleats. I used to rock like mid all black cleats, and then everyone was just chirping me for it, so I had to switch it up. And we're getting like low tops. I had Jordans during the season, red Jordans to match the team colors. Now I'm just wearing like some flashy cleats, and then elbow pads. I wore some dusty, like huge elbow pads, and I won like club off game. I'm like, all right, someone had extra like mini elbow pads, so I used them, and I didn't feel a difference, so I stick with them, and I think they probably look a little better. But
I'm glad that you acknowledge that you're working on your drip and that you didn't say that you're quite there yet, because also on the Wheat Kings, you need to get a box helmet. You look like a dork out there with your field helmet. But yeah, no, the cleats, like you mentioned last year, I remember seeing the Jordan cleats. And then you
Do
got
we
a lot of
like
you.
Jordan cleats, or are those
Yes.
like wannabe drip? Like I'm not a drippy guy, and I'm not gonna
Yes.
ever pretend I am.
I mean, I'm gonna go out and say it. The Jordan cleats are like,
Okay, so that was a good step in the right direction.
yeah.
Okay.
The floppy, like the extra long laces, like the floppiness of the laces. I noticed there was a lot of guys on Benilde last year that like the laces were like really long and they would just kind of like flop out, and it was like I wasn't necessarily sure if I was like pro it or against it, but it was definitely a look, that's for sure.
Was that something that was happening on purpose, Gus?
I don't think so. I mean, the cleats themselves, they might look nice, but I'm gonna say people are gonna have to stay away from. They're not too comfortable, and you have to like tie them super tight to get it feeling good. So that's probably where the floppiness came in.
So we're moving away from the Jordan cleats
Yeah,
going into senior year.
we moved away.
We're
So
moving
so we can,
away. Okay.
yeah.
What are you said flashy? Like, do you know what cleats you're moving into this year, or you said low top, but like you got a brand in mind, you got an idea, maybe you're gonna buy some shoes and then send them. I don't know, send them to, because you can do that. Like, you guys ever heard of that? Like, you can buy
I've
a
seen
shoe
those,
and then
yeah.
they can remake the bottom into a cleat. Where are you going with that?
I mean, right now I'm rocking some like black, like space type, purple, blue, pink, like the Miami Heat, those jerseys that they got. So
Okay.
those are my cleats right now. Maybe we'll stick with them that season if they don't break, but we're just gonna have to wait and see how they look.
Oh, dang, we're keeping it. We're not we're not letting it out. We're gonna see what the season brings. I like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of the program, how's BSM going in the next season? Who should we be kind of waiting for? And any young guns kind of coming up here in the program?
I mean, I'd say we're pretty senior heavy this year. I mean, our entire defense is really all seniors, and our whole offense basically is mostly seniors, juniors, and some younger guys that don't really get to shine because they play in practice. These two freshmen, Leo and David, we always watched them in JV last year, and they'd always dice it up. Just those two, it's a little dynamic duo out attack. One's a righty, one's a lefty, and they're just saucing it together at JV. So it was fun to see them play when we'd always go support the JV boys before our games. So that's always fun to watch.
Keep the tire pumps going. Your teammates are all going to be tuning into this. So, is Axel back? You got a big goaltender,
Axel
don't you?
is back.
All
Axel
right.
is back.
So between again, another senior, like you mentioned, you got a big senior between the pipes. You were shouting out your polls. Who are you going to be dishing with on offense next year? I know you guys got a Marquette committer too.
Yeah, one of the Marquettes on defense, Cole Langevin. But offense, we got Popes. Sky Rold's coming back. He's gonna be coming back from his ACL last year, so he's gonna be a big comeback. Hopefully, we see a lot from him. And then Dylan Parker, Hunter Pear, two other seniors that are just they're dogs. They got hands like butter. They just catch everything. So those are basically the main guys that returning, I guess.
Is Kyle Stevens, is he still there? Or is he?
No, he's at High Point right now.
He's done. All right. So, who's filling in at LSM? Because when I look at teams, as far as like if your team is going to be like elite, and dominate like in those elite games into the state championship, and I know that's a goal of Benild's and almost the standard there is in today's game at high school. The three positions I look at is goalie. All right. So Axel's there. He's solid in between the pipes. And then you got to have a face-off guy, or somehow dominate the X or definitely make it a 50-50. And then you need a LSM. Like, how are those positions looking for your team?
I mean, we got our backup from last year, Benji Watts. I mean, he's just a dog. He always grinds everything out. He's just like a GB machine, trying to just jump on you. He'd probably be barking at you for playing against him on the face-off.
Is he a Dyson or what's his brand?
A Dyson?
Vacuum, buddy.
Vacuum.
Vacuum. Yeah,
Sorry,
move on. He'll know. He'll know.
Hey.
He'll know when he listens. He'll know.
Yeah. Yo, PMAC, they have maids.
What's
maid.
Benild's brand?
No, we don't. What are you saying?
All right, continue. Who's mucking it up at the Face-Off X?
Yeah, Benji Watts, whichever one you call him, Ben or Benji.
He's your Fogo. Okay, I thought you were talking about your LSM. I'm an LSM guy. All right, who's your LSM then?
I can't put words in our defense mouth because I'm not too familiar with that side of the ball. But
yeah, no, fair enough. Kind of going into next year again. I didn't call you a favorite because when I made my favorite last year, I don't know if it was a down the alley jinx or anything, but is Mr. Lacrosse on your radar? Is that a goal of yours going into senior year? In my eyes, I would think you'd be in the mix. Assuming you have another good year, come out and dominate again. Or are you just like, whatever, we got team goals? How do you kind of view that?
I mean, obviously that's a goal. You want to be the best player, period. But that's like more to the side where I feel like me and my guys were focused on one thing, and that's coming back and trying to win that state championship and getting what we didn't get last year.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hey, just to loosen up here, last couple of questions. What's your like favorite thing right now off the field? Like, what do you listen to, watching, reading? What's your favorite thing?
I'd probably say F1. I went to the Las Vegas race actually. My dad surprised me, and we took a trip down to Vegas for a day and we watched that.
So I heard a lot of crap online. Was it dusty? Was it unreal? Was it I will say, raise my hand. I know nothing about F1, but just some of the people I listen to and read, there were some chirps. Was it from a viewer perspective, somebody that went there, was it sick? Was it good time?
I feel like it was pretty sick. We were on like one of the main straights, so we got to see like a ton of overtakes, and we saw a crash, which was pretty like crazy to see. And then after, like, there was like 2-3 laps remaining, so we left wherever we were sitting and we went like down to like where all the celebrities sit. So there's like an emergency exit, and we're walking in at like the right time. An ambulance starts going out the emergency exit, and so we just see that and we just walk across through the emergency exit. We sneak into like this like celebrity area and super expensive seats area, and we just got to like see what they were doing, and we like snuck into like a Mercedes like secret like special party for like their team members, and I'm like wearing my Red Bull Max Verstappen sweatshirt, so it's like they're rivals. And we walk in, somehow walk past security without them saying anything, and then the lady that like runs it just saw us and kicked us out, and then started yelling at the security. So I thought it was a great time.
That's awesome. That's hilarious.
Speaking of Vegas, you're going to Vegas, right, for the Wheat Kings?
That's the plan right now, yeah.
All right, and we're gonna go watch Strickland versus
Yes.
Duplessis.
That would be in the cards.
Is that
In
a
the
UFC?
cards.
UFC? Are we talking UFC?
UFC weekend. Sean Strickland's fighting. We're going to Wheat Kings are taking a trip to Vegas.
That's sweet.
January 19th through the 21st. And Sean
Bolts
Strickland
is coaching though. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He's not playing.
IR still.
Yeah.
Greatest comeback in Wheat Kings history.
I'm actually going this weekend. I'm leaving tomorrow morning. Taking a team out there for a recruiting tournament out there. Not going to a UFC fight though.
What's the gambling age in Vegas? Do you have to be 21?
21.
Yeah.
21. All right. I don't know if you listen or not, but so if you listen, you'll know this question. What is your alley? This can be like a deep passion of yours. Could be this week, this month, this year. Maybe it's like a lifelong thing on the field or off the field. You can kind of take it any direction you want. But Mr. Gus Bell, last question. What is your alley?
I'd probably just say like lacrosse in general, and like right now I'd probably say box lacrosse because I've just recently got into it, so it's really exciting. And I like in class I'm like watching clips after I've done all my work. I'm watching highlights. This guy Bill O'Brien, I don't know if he's a familiar name.
Oh,
I see his
keyword after you get your work done in class.
Yes, after, not during or before, after. But he wears like GoPro and watch it. You can watch his like perspective. He's just hacking and like doing the like cheapest thing possible. So it's always fun to watch, and learning the game of box is very different. So I think that's probably my alley right now, at least.
Love to hear it. Anything we didn't ask you that you should have before we end it?
I'm not too sure. I think we covered a lot, but I wanna hear from a referee of the Minnesota box leagues how he likes his experience as refereeing our league.
Actually, we were just talking about that right before you popped on.
What the heck?
Yeah, so no, this is great. The reffing is going great. Um, Personally, I don't know how you feel, but I feel like I do a pretty darn good job as a solo ref out there. Um, could probably be a little bit more mobile.
I agree on the mobility part.
Yeah, I post up at the midline. So
Doesn't
um
move a foot
no,
till
don't
till
move.
till halftime or quarter end. Doesn't move at all.
Don't move. I'm very honest with my takes though. It's like I make a call and someone yells at me. I'm like, dude, I couldn't see that. Like, no way. Uh, yeah. If I mean, it's a little bit more of a relaxed league. So I do my best, but yeah, mobility could be improved. But as far as the league goes, I'm having a great time. I think all the guys are having a great time. Midbow does a good job of like setting up the picks. Like I don't know, are you in on that?
Yeah, they're like prize picks for the
Yeah, like
the
if
merch or
we
whatever.
have like a fantasy league, and
I'm not
they
in on
get.
the fantasy league. I'm on the
Oh,
prize
okay,
pick stuff though.
okay, yeah, because I can't, unfortunately I can't be in on any of it, otherwise it would be quote unquote rigged. And so yeah, but speaking of that league, King of the Hill, I've also been told to ask you whether or not you think the league is rigged.
I don't think it's rigged. I mean, we have the owner, the president, and manager of the entire league, and we lost our game by like 2 or 3 last week or a couple weeks ago whenever we played. So I wouldn't say it's
Yeah.
rigged.
The
Unless
person who
Golds,
asked you to ask that question, do they think it's rigged? Goltz?
What?
The
Do they
person
think
that
it's rigged?
asked you to ask that question, do they think the league is rigged?
I can't disclose said information, but I can
Because I
say
think the
something.
league is rigged.
I I can say I can share on this one experience within the league. Said person that happens to be the owner, president, manager of the whole league, he did score a goal, and the official did go up and dap him up after he scored a goal. So
That's
I'm not
sketchy.
entirely I'm not entirely sure.
I wasn't at any of the events. I haven't been a part of the league at all. But since this is where there's smoke, there's fire. So if there's questions being raised, is the league rigged? I think, yeah, I'm going to go where the smoke is, and I think there's fire there. I
I
think
mean, if there's any rigging to be done, it's that Midbow put the best lefty in the league on his team.
it's questionable. It's sketchy.
I'd say some maybe a little sprinkle of rigged. I mean, there'd be some, from my perspective, goals, and that just crossed the line, but the referee would just be standing at midline, and he wouldn't be able to see if the ball went in or not, and he just makes a call. And sometimes I don't always agree with the call.
Said official made the wrong call.
I think on multiple occasions, yes.
Multiple. Okay. Might just have to bring out the cardio this week.
I hope so. Those all those 10-mile runs, and you can't even walk in a
Well, Fridays
referee.
happen to be my 10-mile run day, so it's like legs are a little sore.
Okay.
All right, before we lose all the listeners, let's kick you off here. Gus, thanks for coming down the alley with us. Appreciate your time. And hope you enjoyed coming down the alley. We're kind of mixing it up this off season, having players from different levels, high school, college, whatnot. So I hope you had a fun time. I enjoyed it.
I
Golds, go
know that
ahead.
we just said that we were going to kick him off, but I just had one more question that popped in my head.
Okay, ask it.
Can you explain this? I've heard some stories about you quacking.
quacking.
At school. Again, a
Th-
source of ours.
This
I heard the same thing from a source. I heard you
I,
quack.
I I
I
know who
wasn't going to
this
bring it up, but since it's brought up, I heard you quack at school. It's kind of weird, dude.
I know who this source is, and he doesn't even go to school anymore. He actually sends his kid to school, so I don't think he has any affiliation with my school at all. So I don't know how he'd get this information.
Wait,
So you didn't deny that you quack.
wait,
No, I'm denying.
you're
Deny.
denying no
Yes, no
no
quacking going
quacking.
on.
All right.
All right. Gus, thanks for coming down the alley. Appreciate it. Yeah, and like I said, I hope you enjoyed, we enjoyed having you on. Yeah, but I don't know what to say.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Take it easy, Gus.
Yeah.
And thanks to Gus Bell, senior out of Benilde St. Margaret's, for coming down the alley. I didn't want to push it too much, but I think, again, it's super early in the preseason, but, having him on, obviously he's going to be a high level player. He probably is going to be my pick for preseason Mr. Lacrosse when we kind of start coming out with that type of content. On November 30th, he's my favorite for Mr. Lacrosse going in the 2024 season. Absolute stud, shoots the crap out of the ball. And you've said it too. He competes. He competes.
Yeah, he's a dog. For anyone that's ever watched the kid play, I've seen most of him just playing with him on the Wheat Kings, and he's one of the most complete players I've honestly ever watched play. Also, one thing I'd like to note too is that he's very like coachable. Like he's clearly better than a lot of people on our team. Like
Yeah.
I can go up and give him a pointer on something, knowing full well like he's better than me at lacrosse. He's like better than I'll ever be at lacrosse. And he'll like acknowledge those points from anyone that just had more experience. And then like because he's so good, he'll go and apply that. And it's like, dang, like I've been trying to do that for the past 3 years and I can't do it. And then you go and teach him how to do it. And it's like the next 2 reps and he's somehow mastered it. But it's really cool to see someone that good at lacrosse also be so humble to take advice from everyone else and then like really apply it to his game. And I think him playing Wheat Kings this summer, like he was great last year. I'm so interested to see how he does this year as a high schooler playing a full season against grown men. Because it's not just his skill that is surprising, like his physicality. Like he said it, he gets blown up every now and then, but it's like a lot of kids, a lot of 17-year-old, 18-year-old kids would get blown up like that, and they would like never catch the ball again because they're afraid to. And it's just like boom, he pops right back up, nothing even happened, and it's 3 goals after. It's going to be really fun to watch that kid play this season.
Yeah, no, he was a good interview too. I think we had to kind of open him up a little bit, as any young guy, even coaches. We'll have coaches on here, right? He's never met me. I think it helped having you on here, as you've played with him and whatever. But it's tough. But yeah, he, interested to see what the drip, coming out of Benilde next season, is going to be looking like. And yeah, no, he was a good interview. And yeah, I think being a younger, he's not the oldest. And he's got hockey family. The dad played college hockey and whatnot, and is involved in sports at a high level. So I'm sure all that kind of helps him in his process on being coachable, also being able to handle playing against adults, really.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of good things to say about the kid. Honestly, don't have anything bad to say about him. So, which is honestly, that's a really good thing because I usually dig to say bad things about people. So, yeah, no, it's gonna be a fun 2020. What is that? 2024 season. Holy crap.
2024.
Jesus.
2024. And before we wrap this up, gonna have Katie on the next episode, and I'm sure she'll talk about Thanksgiving. You happen to make an appearance,
I did.
pretty much the whole PMAC Thanksgiving, if not the entire thing. What I want to hear your perspective on the inaugural. I said first annual and I got chirped. Because the first annual, I guess, is inaugural. I'm not, again, never claimed to be an English major, so my English was corrected. It was the inaugural PMAX Thanksgiving that's going to turn into a second and third, and hopefully many more to come. From my point of view, I thought it went great. Interested to hear what your experience was at the first, because I'm sure people are gearing up, and I'd love to compare this footage to what Katie will say in the next episode.
Oh, that's actually a great one because granted, yeah, it was a great Thanksgiving. I celebrated my family's Thanksgiving on Sunday, so I was able to just kind of I had a free Thursday, and I was like, yeah, why not? Let's go hunting in the morning. Shot my first pheasant.
Let's go. That was your first one?
Yeah, that was my first. That's actually my first animal I've ever shot. So
I did not know that. I thought you were a hunter.
Dude, I grew up hunting and like walking and doing all this stuff. Yeah, and like it didn't even really register in my mind until like after. Like I think I was just kind of like in shock of everything, just kind of like getting the rust off and everything, and then like realizing I was like, yo, dude, that was my first one.
Let's go, dude.
So yeah, that was pretty sweet. I thought that was a great time. I mean, just a bunch of the most miscellaneous group ever.
Random, right? Uncles,
so random. It was like,
aunts,
oh, hey, this is a friend of my uncle's friend or something. It was just like
brother-in-law,
yeah, wild.
Brother-in-law, dad.
We're just out there marching the field, ripping birds. That was a great time. And then obviously, me and your uncle, Jake, I mean, we always get along. So throughout the day, just spend the time chatting it up with him. Always great watching. And then I had a lot of chance just because I'm not of the family. So I think there was like a lot of people that were like, dude, who the heck is this guy over here just like chilling? So I had a lot of downtime to also observe what was going on. So like you said, when like Katie's like interested to see Katie's perspective, I thought she kept it together very well. But like she was bouncing around in the kitchen, just like doing this, doing that, doing this. And I was just like, I was honestly just observing, kind of like waiting to see like when it was going to break. And it never did. I was very impressed. I was like, your composure. I would like peep in every now and then because I didn't want to like bombard her and be like, can I help you with this? Can I help you with that? Can I help you with this? Like, because I know that's also overwhelming. So I'd like pop in every now and then and just be like, do you need hands on anything? No, I think I got it. And I'm like, okay, like, all right, let's walk away, come back. And it was just, I mean, the constant movement of things. I know you were doing stuff too, and then like Nick, me, Jake, we were like a bunch of other guys were trying to build the fire.
Yeah, I think it took 7 of us to get the fire going.
It took a while. That wood did not want to catch, but I think overall it was great. Met a few of your like family members. You're like on like Katie's side. I already know a lot of your side of the family just growing up, but yeah, met some aunts and uncles of Katie's. Yeah, had a good family dinner. You forced me to eat the drumstick because you were just like frustrated while cutting the turkey. You're like, someone eat this, and you just like threw it on my plate. And so then I ended up eating at the table. I'm like trying to like be pleasant and just like eat with my fork, and I had the drumstick, and I was like, dude, this isn't working. And then just went savage and just started eating with my hands.
Was that off the smoked turkey?
That was off the deep fried turkey.
Deep fried. Okay.
I didn't have the smoked turkey.
No,
I didn't.
I was hoping you could see how I did.
Dude, I had one plate of food and I was done, dude. I had
really?
so much, dude. I was dude, I had so much food on that first plate.
Dude, I ate leftovers of that meal
You
for
still
3
have left.
days.
You still
No,
have
no,
leftover. They're
no, I don't.
gone.
They're gone. Do I delete it? Dude, I was having it for
Dang.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah, because when I left, your center counter was full of food. I'm like, dude, that's a lot.
I think we gave some away and whatever, but
Yeah.
um
What was your
yeah,
favorite? What was your favorite dish?
okay. There's again, there's a lot of highlighted dishes. A lot of people did some really nice things in all areas of the meal. I think the biggest surprise dish that it was like such a surprise to me, at least, not something that maybe I would be gearing up for. Like, I'm gearing up for the turkey, I'm gearing up for the stuffing, pour me some gravy, give me a good dessert. But those orange potatoes, what are those called?
Those orange potatoes.
What are the orange potatoes?
Sweet. They're called sweet potatoes, bro.
Dude, the
Orange.
sweet the sweet potatoes. The sweet potatoes, I think, not to pump my wife's tires, I think she was the one that made them. I'm not 100. I'm pretty sure she was the one that made them. Or it was someone on her family, but I think she made them. Dude, did you have those?
There was two of them. I had
Shoot.
both of them. I love sweet potatoes,
Okay.
so there was one that had Parmesan cheese on them.
What was
I
the
can't
other one?
I can't remember what was on the other one. Me and Jake were going through the line, and
Yeah.
someone like asked what this was, and then Peggy like pointed out that like this is that or whatever, and if you didn't know that this is that, and like then like Jake being smart aleck, he was like, oh, I would have never guessed, and they just started telling people what everything was, and it was like the most obvious thing. He's like, those are mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
That's gravy. He was like going through, so like
Well, there. Okay, so to I don't know what they were pointing out, but there were some Greek dishes there that again
yeah, right. There
they
was some that like no
came
one had any like
right,
no idea like what are we doing over here. Like
yeah, which was part of the PMAC plan. Like, we had a lot of different things for different parts of the day. For the dinner, I wanted everyone to contribute like their thing. Like, I wanted the Greeks bring in the Greek dishes. I wanted the Americans bring in the American dishes. I wanted, if someone else had a different tradition, that was coming, from their family, bring your thing. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So
this is like the most interesting thing that I've seen on Thanksgiving, because it was the Greeks sweet potatoes with the Parmesan cheese on them. But they also, I don't know what plant they had on it, but there was
that
like
was the one. That was the one. That
it was like
dish.
the long stem of plant.
I don't know what it
And
was either. Was it
like
like a
I've
basil?
never seen that. Dude, you're asking the wrong guy.
I called them what I call them, orange potatoes.
Yeah,
So
orange potatoes. No clue. I'm like scooping up the sweet potatoes, and they just someone, I think it was Peggy again, was like, yeah, you don't eat that. And I was like, I kind of like figured he didn't eat that, but it just like came with the spoon or whatever when I just scooped it up. But I've just never seen like a dish like that on Thanksgiving where it's like we have an ingredient on there that you don't eat.
No, yeah,
Like that was
yeah.
that was interesting. Like I saw that plant and I was like, that's definitely not part of
It's
the
not
dish.
edible.
Yeah, it's like that whatever that like you go to like a fancy restaurant and like they like you get a steak and they always put that one like green on it that's not edible. It's like what are you doing? Like what's that doing here? But yeah, so I was like that was very interesting because I come from a fairly both sides of my family are fairly like redneck. And so it's just like everything on the table is edible.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
never had a not edible thing on Thanksgiving.
Okay, so I like the orange potatoes. What was your favorite dish of the night?
Dude, my favorite, like it's all time. I can never it's the stuffing, dude.
I know.
Like
I know.
like I
Unlimited amounts.
and I don't even care how you make it for some like it doesn't matter how you make it. It's like you make stuffing this way. Some people put the gizzard, they chop it up and put it in there.
Sure.
Some people don't. Some people put onion, some people don't. It's like,
Dude, you could do the stovetop stuffing
dude,
out of the box and I'd be
any
fired up.
any stuffing, dude, give me all of it. I think what was it? I think Annie made the stuffing.
I believe you're right on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, always the stuffing. Dude, the turkey was good too. I
So
had the
you had the
deep fried
fried.
one.
Yeah, you had the deep
I
fried.
was
Yeah.
honestly, I was worried about that one.
Why?
That one was giving everyone a heartache, like a heart attack the whole time.
Why?
Jake, I forget his name already. Who's the other brother or your other
Joe?
uncle? Joe. Me, Jake, and Joe were out at the fire. Well, your grandma's out here telling us like to keep an eye on the deep
Keep an
fryer
eye on the
for the thing.
turkey.
And so first of all, like I already know that deep frying turkey can go bad. Like if you
Yeah,
don't
if you
do it
put a
right, like
frozen one, I
yeah,
throw a
like
frozen one in there.
it
Carry
can
on.
go bad. And then like and your grandma's in there like trying to like thaw it out with a beach towel. And I'm like, oh dude, someone's gonna get hurt doing this. And then they're putting us in charge of monitoring it. Probably like the three like people that you need not to be monitoring it were the ones that were put in charge of it. And then your grandma goes out there to check it to make sure. She's like, is it heated up yet? We're like, yeah, we think so. Sticks her face in it and then like opens it. And we're like, dude, like someone's gonna get hurt here. And then I then just deep frying the turkey. I was like, is it gonna get cooked all the way through? Because then again, we were put in charge of the timing of all that. So I was a little weary about the deep fried one, but I had it. It was good. Turkey was cooked all the way through.
Yeah, at that time in the cook, I was out of commission for cooking. I should have had lunch. Yeah. So yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Glad you could join us.
Yeah, that was a good one. I'm
Just fun having you there.
definitely gonna like want to be a part of the hunt
The
every
second
year.
annual,
Yeah, I don't know if I'm always gonna be able to make it to the
the whole
whole.
shebang.
Yeah,
Well,
but
that's the thing.
maybe.
We've got three areas. We are three sections of the day. So
Yeah,
if people want to come to the hunt in the morning, come on down. We got an afternoon section where we play games or we're just hanging out, whatever. We're gonna take an hour to start the fire in the back. That's gonna be part of the
yeah.
afternoon.
If it gets started,
And then
yeah,
dinner, we're bumping dinner. That was one of the things. We're bringing dinner up.
yeah, I would, yeah,
Earlier dinner. We're having
yeah.
dinner at 5. We're early dinner. Break way earlier dinner. That was on me. I raised my hand.
Yeah,
I raised my hand. Katie, if you're listening, raise my hand. I said 6:30 for dinner. We're bringing it back. I was I can learn. I can live and learn, make adjustments. So
yeah, but nonetheless, I thought it was a great inaugural PMAX Thanksgiving.
so you think we should continue and have a second annual?
I mean, yeah, I
You're
definitely
voting in favor. Okay.
I would vote in favor of that. A first
Okay.
annual, not a second annual. First annual. Is it a
Wait,
second annual?
so there's an inaugural, and then we move on to second annual,
See,
right?
is it? Maybe.
I don't know,
Dude,
I
I
thought
don't know.
I don't know. I'm not an English major. I'm not. I'm the opposite of an English. I can barely speak English,
Yeah, I
and
don't
somehow
know.
I have a podcast. Imagine that.
Yeah, but hey, it's American dream.
The the American dream. Goltz, appreciate you being my left hand man here. Coming down the alley. We're gonna have to probably do an interview, a follow up interview with you, kind of check in on things. But appreciate you helping with the interview with Mr. Gus Bell this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'll be available when I can, but what is this, my third time on the pod now? Third or fourth? I don't know, something
I
like
don't
that.
know who's counting,
But yeah, always good to be on. Yeah. All right. Well, have a
deuces.
good one. Up the hash.